Hey everybody, amprepairguy.com, also hardbackelectronics.com, 203-892-4119. So we have an AL572 here. I opened up an AL811H earlier, but it needs sockets. I'm out of sockets. Also needs, what else did it need? Air variable capacitor for the load side. It's damaged. So, anyway, I try to make things pretty clear as possible. Over the years, I've added extra things. You know, it's a learning experience. I try to cover everything so there are no hiccups. But you know, when someone sends in an amp, I always direct them to my pack and ship info page. So, you know, the people, they see that, you know, they need to meet these conditions to just send it in, or, you know, when they talk to me, you know, bring these things up. So, it has to be an amp shown on my YouTube channel. You're a licensed ham radio operator. The PA has no extreme modifications. No one has tried to fix after its failure. I say no longer working on the FL2100Bs. And then you have the packing info. So customer sent me this, and he also sent me a solid state ALS 500. I don't work on those. Here's the problem. He told me that I had a meter issue, but let's check all this other stuff out. First off, someone changed the switches. They are very hard to operate. They're not seated properly also. So the wiring for the metering board has been changed by someone. That's not factory. So someone took the board out, messed with the wiring. Someone spliced the line cable and electrical taped it all up, and I spliced it to this other wiring here, the power switch. They did some work on the transmit LED here. It's all electrical taped, and it's not even staying in its little cup there, bezel. There are a couple wires that are going up between the front panel and the chassis front wall here, just wedged in there. It looks like there's another wire, like a green wire over there. Okay. Someone replaced the diodes over here. Probably had a open trace, so they jumped it with a lead. Someone messed with the lead coming off the transformer here and put some heat shrink over it. Looks like a resettable fuse. Probably put a short on that line, the 12-volt accessory line, and took the diodes out and then put that in. Usually, you know, Ameritron put a resistor in there to act like a fusible link, like fuse. Did some work over here. Okay, so I also noticed that the secondary leads for the transformer are routed underneath the board, touching different things. Should come up through this gap over here and connect over here, here, these three spots. The B positive going to the base of the plate choke should be connected over here on the top, but it's like tagged underneath. It's hard to see. Okay, then I noticed the center tap, I believe, of the filament secondary is just floating in there. See it over there? Let's see if I can get in there with my little screwdriver. 1 second here. Hard to do all in those. Here. You see, it's right there. The green and yellow wire should be over here. So I learned a long time ago. Well, first off, well, let me finish what I was saying. I learned a long time ago, you get involved with something like this, it always turns into a huge headache, and then that's one part. The second part is I can't let something leave unless it's safe and correct. So, you know, it could be a liability. The customer could, gosh forbid, burn a house down. They could get electrocuted or just fail, and it just turns into a revolving door. Customer said he bought this from a ham fest. He said he used it for a year. I don't know, but so I'm sorry, guys. I try to make it as clear as possible. I just can't. I don't get involved with things like this anymore. It's just, like I said, it's a tremendous amount of work and it's liability unless it's put back to stock. Too many turns. So we need a turn removed also from each coil. Okay, so please, if you're sending an amp, if it has any of this craziness done to it, tell me, because I just can't get involved with stuff like this. That's why, again, I've made it perfectly clear on the site. So customer will owe the bench fee, and now I need to bring it back to FedEx, and they'll, you know, the other amplifier didn't open, so that's already boxed up, and this wasn't boxed properly either. It was in a box, made it okay, but it was in a box within another box, and there was no padding between the two boxes, so the inner box was just moving around. So again, when you're bringing something to get shipped, I always say, print it out, ask for the manager, and make sure they pack it properly. But yeah, so I just feel bad. I feel really bad, but look, there's a screw missing there. That's a different type of screw. It's not a factory screw. So I don't even know where that wire is going. No clue. So that's going to be it for this week. I will talk to you guys Monday. I'll be back next week. Hope everyone has a great weekend. 73.